Hey YouTube, it is season turnover today, and I forgot to mention in my top teams for Great League this morning, please remember your star piece to get to maximize that dust. You have two options this week, an open Great League, which I think pretty much everyone will be playing. I did top teams and new rankings for that this morning. Retro Cup is also on, and Retro Cup has been in the past a good meta because what we don't like for Great Leagues metas, limited metas, is like 3 typings or less. So if it's we'll just kind of go down the list here because there's a lot of them this season. So like the summers, the normal, like when there's 5 here, that's okay. But then when we get to like willpower and it's just fighting psychic dark, we don't like that. When it's fantasy, when it's just dragon, steel, and fairy, we don't like that, right? And so there's a lot of those 3 typings. Retro Cup is a 15 typing. You're only getting rid of 3, dark, steel, and fairy. So generally it's a more open meta. Not this season, unfortunately, because in the past, what has risen to the top has always been dragon, because fairy hits super effective against dragon, and dragon breath and dragon moves are only resisted by 2 things, and those 2 things are fairy and steel. So all of a sudden you just took out the only 2 typings in the meta that can resist your dragon moves. And add on now, all the dragons got buffed this season because they reworked dragon tail, dragon breath, dragon claw, breaking swipe. They're all different now. For the most part, an improvement on all of them. I'd argue breaking swipe is not as an improvement, but it does guarantee the lowering of the attack now. But the other 3 are improvements, which makes in the open Great League, I think it was something like 6 of the top 20 are dragons, and it's like 4 of the top 10 are dragons, something like that. So now if 4 of the top 10 Pokemon in the open Great League are dragons, and now you just took away fairy and steel, which were your Carbinks were up there, Bastion was up there, Steelix was up there, Wigglytuff was up there, Darkspun was up there. What are you left with? And what you're left with is this. Regidrago is number 1. Then we have Primeape as a fighter. Then we have Dragonair, the Shadow Dragonair, Kingdra, Gyarados, which is not a dragon. It is a water flying Pokemon, but it has Dragon Breath. Kingdra Dragon, Goodra, Corsola is there, but Goodra Dragon, Salamence Dragon, Como 13 at Dragon, Drampa at 18 Dragon. So we now have like 9 to 10 dragons in the top 20. So I was thinking about team building, but there is really no point to team building because if you're going to play this meta, which I don't think a lot of people are, you really can only play it 2, maybe 3 ways. So we'll team build here together. Plus the team building doesn't work because I had to put in custom rankings because PVPoke didn't have the rankings when I'm filming this. I'm filming this a few days in advance. So option 1, you go like double dragon or like a Gyarados double dragon. You go like, if you really want to be stupid, you can go triple dragon and just hope that if the other team doesn't have like 2 ice Pokemon, you can combo ice Pokemon with dragons, but it will be a little tricky. So you go like double dragon, or you go, a fire double dragon. So you lead a fire and then you safe swap, does not matter. Reggie, Dragonair, Kingdra, Goodra, whatever dragon you want to safe swap that dragon, try to draw out that ice, and then punish it with the fire. Now, in terms of the ice Pokemon, so that's the build around dragons. I said fire. I'm starting to second guess that because one of the Pokemon, one of the main Pokemons that if you're playing this meta that you will see is Aurorus, and Aurorus is a half ice, half rock Pokemon. In terms of fire, fire generally is going to deal with most of the ice that you'll see here, but you now have Lapras that has Ice Beam, that is a half water Pokemon, so that's only neutral, and it will have Sparkling Aura, which will be super effective. Aurorus is half rock, which will neutralize fire, and Meteor Beam super effective. So looking at these, maybe you put in a fighter because ice is also weak to fighting, so Lapras will be weak to fighting, Aurorus will be weak to fighting. Yes, Lapras has Psywave too, so you'll be taking super effective there, but if you are worried about these secondary typings, you can lead with a fighter or a fighter. Fire should still work as well though. So that's option 1. So option 2, as we're looking at the ice, the option 2 is to go ABB with double ice, or ABA with ice Pokemon. Lead something like a Lapras, and then have something Aurorus in the back. Again, secondary typings may cause you problems here because You lead Lapras into a Dedenne, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, you can't lead Dedenne. Bad example. Belly Bolt, that's an electric Pokemon. Then suddenly it's like, oh, that ABA doesn't work as much. But you run a double ice. If you think there's going to be 1 to 2 dragons on these teams, run the ice and then cover a fire and fighting weakness. You can do that with like maybe Gyarados. Like Gyarados as a water flying will resist fire and resist fighting. So that's one option. So you can just sort by flyers, right? So the Gyarados is the main one. That came off the top of my head. There's some of these like new buffed weird Peck flyers, which we'll have to see how they play actually when you use them. But those are options there. Or the other option that would, when you have, if you have 2 ice, you're going to resist ice. So being weak to ice on one is not bad. I guess the other option for it would be like ground. So you got your Runerigus, your Glygars. Maybe you can combo it. Gligar that will have dig for the fires and then resist fighting because you're flyer. That's an option, right? So then you use that, or you try to just the third option. If you're trying to figure out like, okay, I don't want to guess if it's going to be meta. I don't want to guess it's be anti-meta. What do I just do? And then you just look for like what Pokemon, if we're going to see one or the other, what will be generally safe. And that is why like something like Primeape is so highly ranked, because Karate Chop, Rage Fist, close combat here, or if you're using the Shadow, Karate Chop, Rage Fist, Ice Punch recommended here, you can essentially, as long as it's not like, even if it's a flyer you have Ice Punch for, but if it's any one of these other ones, then you can kind of just stay in and Karate Chop, Rage Fist your way through the majority of the ones that I've kind of mentioned here. Corsola, this is why I think Corsola is ranked so high. Dark is banned. Normal, if you watch my Open Great League, Normal kind of got a semi-nerf this season. Actually, there's a lot of, holy crap. There's a lot of Normal here. I'm wondering why. What's banned? Dark, Steel, and Fairy. So you're not even banning the fighting. Oh, yeah, okay, I remember here. So in the Open Great League, the Normal is not as relevant anymore. Why it is more relevant here is because fighting, yes, you don't need to worry about fairies as a fighter anymore, but 2 things that you hit super effective against are not in the meta. So fighters who would hit super effective against Dark, and fighters would hit super effective against Steel. So now all of a sudden, if you're not hitting super effective against 2 typings, it makes you less valuable, which is why you may see less fighters, which is why normal typing kind of rises a bit. So I was going to say Ghost. All that to say is like Ghost should have a little more play, but you know what? There's actually quite a lot of decent Pokemon in here that are normal typing, and one of them is Oranguru. Now Oranguru is one that has always risen to the top of this for the same reason that Dragon has risen to the top of this. The Steel and Dark that would otherwise resist Confusion are banned. So now your Confusion basically goes free. And I'm actually starting to remember now, one of the main teams of the past have been Oranguru and Shadow Girafarig. So you run Oranguru as your safe swap, and then you have something on the front that can maybe like a Ghost or something that will beat because again, if you're running Confusion user and you go against like another, I don't know, Psychic Pokemon or something, that's going to be sort of one of your trickiest. So you have that. Try to draw out one of those, punish it with your front Pokemon, and then have Shadow Girafarig in the back, roam free with the double Confusion. So this meta was a Dragon Breath, Confusion, sort of fast move damage one for now. Dragon Tail and Dragon Breath got reworked, so it's gonna play a little differently. But those sort of like safe Pokemon of the typings that you don't need to worry about anymore are the ones that you should be leveraging. So Ursaring, Oranguru. I still think Dusclops and Corsola as the ghosts are going to have a lot of play in this meta. So that is basically what the meta is going to be. I'm not going to spend too much time. I'm going to just end the video here. There's no point in putting out like teams together. I just kind of gave you ideas of how you put your own teams together. Just be aware that it's going to be a dragon meta or an ice meta, or just people are just going to be throwing random stuff together. It's also the first week, so you really don't know what you're going to see, but just those are examples of how the past Retro Cups works, how dragons have been buffed, and what you may see this season. So yeah, let me know if you're going to play this. I don't expect many of you to, but if you are, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.